mama, akamuita kamama.
Hey! Kamama,
pigwa shock. God of Thunder, God of Thunder. Akachomoka biguni, akakuingilia. Moyo wake unanyonywa. Cheki venye na ambavyo jamaa anakaushwa. Na Hanzo Hasashi is type crowd. Ako na machungu baya mbovu. Mtu nataka kuja kuuza uoga. Nakuja kuuzia nani uoga? Mimi ni mtu anawakilisha taifa mzima. Alafu mtu anataka kuja kuuzia mimi uoga. Mabirenya kibisa. Abiru chwadi. Mwanzo firirida imewekwa. Wewe kwanza kanasikia firirida ni ya Monyonyi. Kanasema mambo iko shwari kibisha. Nyitanagira na DJ Junior the Hindi kwa biriria muthenya wa kiumia ginya aramithi shihada tha inya cia utuko. Na rio muthenya wa Jumamothi ni shihada tha 10 cia hwaini.
Otari wa
When you look at the Finance Bill 2026, kidogo tu unajiuliza jamani, who sat down to think about these proposals, these ideas, these comments, these suggestions? Unajiuliza, are we in the same country as this particular same people? Ama tuko peke yetu? And here on the Gen Z Manifesto, tunataka kuongelea the Finance Bill 2026. Because every year, Kenyans hear the same things. Government needs more revenue. But ordinary citizens are asking, why does every solution begin with more taxes? This bill touches almost everything. Kila kitu. Phones, mobile money, digital platforms, online hustle, farming, financial services. And what matters because is how Gen Z survives through the digital economy. We are freelancers, creators, remote workers, small business owners, hustlers. Munakumbuka hiyo jina? So when taxes move into phones, transactions, and digital systems, it is not abstract policy anymore. It becomes personal. The government says it wants efficiency and compliance. Citizens are asking for fairness and relief because people can accept taxes when they see opportunity. Na tunasema hivyo ukweli, Wakenya wana shida kulipa tax. But when the cost of living rises faster than hope, taxation starts feeling like contribution and more like survival pressure. And maybe that is the real story of the Finance Bill 2026. Not just economics, but trust. Trust between citizens and the state. This is a Gen Z Manifesto. My name is Charlotte Kibet. Karibuni sana to the biggest show as my co-host pale anaitwa Bajibu Kitsawa na Semango. Every Tuesday, my director is reminding me that kuna watu personal wameshikwa hii wiki, watu wa Arsenal jamani. Wametusumbua in the streets. Karibu tufikirie ni maandamano mengine Bajibu. I don't know if any of you were on Sunday nikafikiria sijui ni join maandamano. Kumbe ni watu wa Arsenal wamejaa town. Wow, I was so shocked. Karibuni the Gen Z Manifesto. Topic ya leo ni ile kali. Kila mwaka tunasikianga finance bill. Na mimi kwangu na believe ya hii mwaka nilikuwa nasema hey jamani, what is this? Majibu, I can see you with your amazing audience. Watu leo wako serious, wamekuja na vitabu. Kama mimi leo ukiniona na kitabu, ujue leo tunachambua vitu mingi. Watu wako wanasemaje jamani? Naona wako serious, wako na vitabu, wako na kalamu, jamani. Kwani leo
kwanza inaanza na kusema watu wa Arsenal wakwende kama director wetu. Acha kelele bana. Mashadi kwende huko, kwendeni kabisa. So Charlotte, I think what Kenyans want right now is money in their pockets, because pay slips have been raided. Mi sahi nikiangalia yangu na shanga, nitaitoka block kweli. And yes, as we talk about the finance bill tonight, the finance bill 2026 proposals, kuna a lot of misinformation in that document. Na tumeona Treasury CS John Mbadi coming out, clearing the air on some of those proposals. Number one, about the 25% excise duty on mobile phones. Na pia kulikuwa na issue on the proposal to impose 16% VAT on payment service providers kama M-Pesa na Airtel. Na director anasema kwanza tupate kusikia bite ya National Treasury CS John Mbadi on the same. Director.
These taxes and levies cumulatively create an aggregate tax burden of approximately 55.5% within the current mobile phone taxation framework. 55.5%. On the contrary, the proposal under the Finance Bill 2026 seeks to simplify. So simplicity that I talked about seeks to simplify the existing structure by replacing the current fragmented framework with a single 25% excise duty collected upon activation of the phone. Why one would want us to have multiple taxes all over the place for mobile phones and cause people who are trading in mobile phones to pay taxes for phones they have not even sold. When we are saying, please allow us to only collect one tax at the time the phone is sold and is ready for use. The Finance Bill of 2026 seeks to clarify the tax treatment of fees charged on digital payment and card transaction services. Over time, digital payment systems have grown rapidly through the use of mobile applications, payment platforms, software systems, and card payment networks. This has created uncertainty on whether some of these technology-based services should be treated as exempt financial services or ordinary commercial services for tax purposes. The proposal in the bill, therefore, seeks to provide clarity and ensure consistent treatment of fees charged on digital payment processing and card transaction services. Withholding tax on digital content monetization has also been talked about. Withholding tax on digital content monetization. This is my response. I wish to clarify that the Finance Bill of 2026 does not contain a proposal introducing a 5% withholding tax on digital monetization, contrary to some media reports and commentary.
Yeah, you've heard it from National Treasury CS John Mbadi, wanamuita expert. Acha pia mimi basi niko na my expert wangu tonight in studio. Acha nione vizuri. Tunaanzia wapi? Tunaanzia hapa. Utuambie jina, and you've heard it from the CS clearing the air on some of these issues. Kulikuwa na misinformation. Nikianza na wewe sahi, utuambie what's your name, and when you look at the Finance Bill 2026, that document, what stands out for you? Yes.
My name is Modhoni Waringa. I am a woman rep aspirant at Murang'a County, and I'm also a youth. I am at JKUAT. When I look at what CS Bandi is saying, he's saying that we should allow them, the government, to collect and add more taxes on us. But if I look at myself as a youth, if you add more taxes to what I am right now, I am at survival mode, because you can't tell me if you increase the transport costs, you automatically increase the cost of food. Even the mama mboga we talk of every day, where is she going to get her products from, her vegetables from? She'll have to use that transport that has been raised. The fare is also up. So, and she's not adding on what she's selling to be more expensive, but the taxes are there. So if the rate of income has not increased, if you increase the taxes, then you will be putting punitive measures that will affect every mwananchi.
Who is already suffering.
Yeah, who is already suffering. If you tax a person who doesn't even have anything, you're just scratching their skin. You are leaving them in pain.
Sawa. Sapo mbele pia, this is Dorcas Gakenya. She is the National Youth Chairperson wa pale Roots Party of Kenya. Tuambie pia we, what stands out for you from this document?
What comes to my mind first as a national youth representative of the Roots Party of Kenya ni kuelewa that at this moment the country experience a very high number of unemployment kwa youth na pia underemployment. For example, a trained teacher mwenye amefanya a whole degree course anaenda kufanya internship for 17,000. The same person unataka ku raise taxes asipate access to smartphone, ama akipata it's at a very high price, meaning salary ya mwalimu ya mwezi mmoja haiwezi mpatia a decent phone, right? So to me, what comes to mind is that how put the consideration of mwananchi and the youth and the situation that salary haiongezewi, tunaendelea tu kuteseka, and as my friend has said, ni kama you're scratching the skin. You're just hurting people when they are already in pain.
Safi, hao ni vijana, and by the way, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers has also warned of possible loss of jobs, and wengine wanasema they might even close down their companies. Tukuje kwako, acha nipate sauti ya boy kidogo bana. Patisha mic mwenye kwa nyuma yako pia, kiongozi unaitwa nani, alafu atuambie what stands out for you from this document.
Okay, my name is Mordecai Mshindi. I'm the campuses representative from Maseno University, and also
Mshindi alishinda kule Maseno.
Yeah, niliweza kushinda kule Maseno, and I'm also a Kenyan youth and a Kenyan citizen concerned by the written the proposed finance bill. You know, a government, according to the Article 43 of our Kenyan constitution, like the economic and social responsibilities of a government to its citizen, like most of the time you find like education, employment, health, accessibility to affordable and good housing is the role of the government to our citizens, indio. So you find like in this bill we have the government has really sidelined the normal mwananchi. Tukiangalia mama mboga ameintroduciwa kitu inaitwa invoice, which big companies have been doing it maybe in the previous economic transactions. Another thing, I'm a student of international relations, but at some point the government is risking our regional cooperation by increasing some of the tax for importation of commodities. Yeah, you find like commodities that will be imported from maybe within East Africa. As compared to previous budgets, you find like this year's finance bill has increased it with a certain percentage.
There is also the removal of VAT exemption on aircraft and its parts.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. That one?
Yes, we mentioned something about taxes na pia could disrupt business between Kenya and its neighboring countries.
Yeah, sure.
Ni sawa sawa. Kuna baby girl pale nyuma pia, utuambie wanakuita nani, and then briefly what stands out for you from this document?
Good evening. My name is Wakiri Ruth Wanjiro Kimani. I'm a law student at Mount Kenya University. I'm also a youth representative Nakuru County. I'm also MCA coming 2027, Kamara Ward, Nakuru County. So according to the finance bill, first we have seen also on the issue of second-hand clothes. they have increased, let's say they have assumed that 5% that you are getting in that mituba. They don't care if you have get a profit there. They will deduct 1.5. And we as normal mwananchi, we usually go for that second-hand clothes, which we call them mitumba, so that we can, like our level has not allowed us to go for la boutique and buy a cloth. So we usually go to that mtumba because it's cheap. Now they are increasing the price of that mtumba. So the question is, are they being considerate about us normal mwananchi? Are they considerate about that mama mboga? Are they considerate about that boda rider? We are not saying that we are not supposed to be taxed, but we are asking, is that tax being deducted fairly? That's the question.
Safi. As much as, because taxes imekuwa, wengine watasema pia, as much as you are calling these taxes, it all draws back to accountability. How are you using our taxes to the benefit of the common mwananchi? Kiongozi hapo nyuma pia wewe tuambie what's your name and your comments on the document.
Okay, good evening. My name is Maurice Wambua. I'm a youth leader in Kajiado County and I'm a human rights defender. When nimeona hiyo finance bill, kuna kitu imekam kwa akili yangu tu. Juu the whole of that finance bill hakuna mali inaangalia common mwananchi. Saizi currently as we are talking, Kenyans wamekuwa overburdened na hizi taxes. Unaget? Na nimekam ku notice each and every time finance bill inakam kusomo ama we are just learning about finance bill. Back in 2024 wanatafutaga tu distraction, wanaeka hapo vijana ama wase wana lose focus, inapita. So I guess hii kitu yao wanakuaga washajua what they are doing. Na kitu kingine pia ule mse alikaka ye akaandika hiyo finance bill na ama ile body likam na hii finance bill, I don't think if those people have the right minds kwa akili yao. Kwa sababu saizi tukiangalia Mkenya anapigwa taxation kila mahali. Kuna hapa mse amesema rent imepanda, ndio hiyo fuel ndio hiyo imepanda, of which fuel ikipanda kila kitu ina rise. So currently we are not saying that we are not supposed to pay taxes. What is happening and what we need to know is that accountability na ile tuone tunalipa taxes, yes, zinadu nini? Tunalipaje taxes na mausia zina madawa? Tunalipaje taxes yet barabara hazipitiki? Tunalipaje taxes na ndoa watu wanaenda majuu sijui na ndege ya 5 million?
CS Badi anasema there are no punitive tax measures as mentioned by the media. Anasema according to him that this whole issue is being politicized. Do you believe that your document is being politicized? Ama ni kuna kamchezo by the government?
Hii ni mchezo ya gava tu ile watakuaga nayo. Unaget? Na wanakuaga na so many ways za kudoja, so many nini ambazo wanajua wanaulizwa, being accountable. And to me I'll just say like this, how do you start milking a starving cow? Unaget? Juu saizi hakuna msea umi. Hii stories za Mbadi hapa anatokea, hii ni karata na nipia anatufanyia. Unaget? Stories za jaba hizo.
We are almost approaching the June 25th. It is this document which took you out to the streets during the last finance bill 2024-2025, and now we have this new document comparing ile yenye ilipita na hii. How would you compare the two?
This one is very much punitive kwa sababu everything is going to rise at a very high rate. Unaget? Tukiangalia story na mtumba, wasi wengi wanapiga biza mtumba ni vijana, si ni kweli? We have so many thrift shops ambazo zinatoa manguo UK, zinatoa China, zinauza ambayo pia meemploywa. So hizo nini zikipitishwa hivi utapata ndo mimi ni sustain busy yangu, kuna watu nitachuja job. So hii inaenda kuwa mbaya na inafuata tukiwa na power kesho turauke.
Haya, tafuteni power. Utaekelea moyo mpate power. Tupisha mic hapo mbele kwa Regina Nkirote. She is a women rep aspirant pale Meru. Mwesh, inakuaje bana?
Niko salama,
Uko
thank
fiti?
you. Yes.
Ile document mmesoma huko Meru?
Nimeipitia sana. Okay, thank you so much the host and my people from
Naitwa Majibu.
Thank you so much and the people who are watching me, people from the mighty land of prosperity. My name is Regina Nkirote, woman rep aspirant Meru County. And this is what I have to say about the Finance Bill 2026. Kama kuna ile yenye inatufinya na yenye itafanya tutoke nje ni ya 2026. Kwa sababu kusema ukweli, the Finance Bill inafinya the common mwananchi. Hakuna venye serikali inabomoa Gikomba and then inakuja inapadisha taksi ya mitumba. Ukiangalia hapa mimi mzima vitu nimevaa mingi ni mtumba. Na mayudhi wenzangu vitu wamevaa ni mtumba. Tutaafford aje kuvaa nguo ikiwa serikali ambayo ilitupromise ikatuahidi kazi imeanza pia kutax vitu tunafanya online. We as youth of the Kenya, we have tried to be very innovative. Tunafanya kazi zetu pale online, lakini unapata serikali imeamua kutax hiyo kitu. Upande mwingine tunaegemewa freelancing, bado wanakuja wanaanza kututax. Kina mama boga kutumia M-Pesa imekuwa ngori. And then badi anakuja anatuchezea shere, anasema tuna politicize. That is a lie. You serikali, you cannot milk a starving cow, kama venye rafiki yangu hapa amesema. Another thing yenye naweza sema sisi kama vijana ni tamu yetu like tukuerada. Serikali like inatufinya sana. Sisi wenye tuko kwa ballot tunaelewa serikali, tunaelewa venye hii finance bill inaundwa. It is their time the parliament wenye wako huko bunge wenye wametusimamia, my woman rep, please speak up for us. Watu wanafinyilika, watu wanateseka. Kwenye tunaegemea na kuwa ngumu. Kuna hii clause yenye nilipitia ya kodi ya nyumba, the rental tax. Unapata serikali wamekuja wakaiongezea from 7.5% to 10%. Tuseme ile nyumba yenye sisi kama mayudhi tunakaa tukifanya kazi zetu pale online. Rent ikuje ipandishwe. Kweli hatuta afford kukaa hii dunia. Like hata kungoje hiyo 50 hiyo miezi 15 yenye
itakuwa mbaya.
Yeah, miezi 15 yenye imebaki tutoe Ruto itakuwa ngumu. Hata hatufai kuingoja, by the way, inakaa mbali sana. Mambo ya mitumba tumeongelelea several times.
Aya, hata ni vizuri mtaja story ya mtumba hapo. And it's a good thing also that we have a guy from ASPAC to clear the air on that same issue.
Yeah.
Kuna a lot of misinformation and you've heard the Treasury CS John Mbadi talking about the same on the issue about Mtumba, the 25% exercise duty on mobile phones, na pia the proposal to impose 16% VAT on payment service providers kama Safaricom, M-Pesa and Airtel. Do you believe that kuna hiyo misinformation, ama how would you say about the sentiments by CS Mbadi?
And good evening to our viewers, and good evening to my fellow panelists and Gen Z. I'm a ranking Gen Z member, so when I see them I feel great. My name is Karaya Mokaya. I'm a tax specialist. I serve at SKM Africa as a partner. I also sit at the Public Finance and Tax Committee for ISPAC, where we engage government on policy and tax issues. Is there a misinformation and probably some aspect of not getting it right with the Finance Bill 2026? To some extent, yes. To a large extent, no. Let's start with the Mtumba issue. It's a very emotive issue because, I mean, all of us here, one of the pieces that we have put on is Mtumba. So then it's a genuine concern. If there is tax to be imposed on Mtumba, then it would increase the cost of Mtumba. But the proposal that is in the finance bill is, so there is the current proposal that is currently there, which essentially is meant to recharacterize the VAT status of Mtumba from currently taxable status to exempt status. And what that essentially means is that when Mtumba vendors sell Mtumba to us, they will not be charging VAT. And that's a good thing, because essentially if they are honest, they should then pass on the Mtumba to us at a slightly reduced cost of 16% or thereabouts. So that is a good thing, and it should go into reducing the cost of Mtumba. But then there is the flip side, which was there in the white copy of the finance bill, but subsequently when the green copy came out, that aspect wasn't covered. But that same aspect that wasn't covered in the green copy has been featured and has been mentioned by the CS. And the CS has said that they intend to impose what we call withholding tax that is payable at the point when the Mtumba suppliers import those bales. And that essentially could mean that immediately a bale lands, then you need to pay 5% tax at CIF base. So CIF means cost, insurance, and freight. So if a Mutumba bale goes for $1,000, then there will be a tax paid at that point of 5%, which effectively then means that if you are not able to raise the 5% tax, then you might not be able to clear your Mutumba. And that could mean as well, then you need to go and, raise funds either from a financial institution or from friends or from Shylocks to be able to clear the Mutumba. So that is likely to, it's paying tax upfront, which essentially then overwhelms your liquidity.
Yeah.
And that also has pressure in the capacity you can be able to import because of paying of tax upfront. So that is the position on Mitumba. So VAT, the characterization from taxable to exempt is a good thing, but the bad thing is the intention to introduce the upfront tax at the point of importation, the 5%.
So, okay. So, Moka, we'll get back to you, and I like that Majibu asked you that. Allow me to ask Collins. Collins, karibu, back. When do you expert wetu? Maswali zote zitakuwa back to you over and over again. Collins, when you hear about this particular finance bill, na karibu sana to the show, Collins Mwangi is a youth leader in this country. Tumekuwa na kila pahali jamani, kama mtu haja kuona anafaa work hard kidogo. As what Mukaya was just discussing now, and do you think this particular finance bill is effectively affecting us positively or negatively, or do we have a trauma response to the word finance bill every single year, or are we actually just saying kuna vitu mzuri tumeacha, we're just focusing on the negative as Collins?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I feel really very honored to be here, and I wish to welcome all our viewers to the show. My name is Collins Mwangi, a youth leader from Murang'a County and a member aspirant for the Member of Parliament seat in Kandara constituency come 2027. It is quite disheartening that the government is still focusing on, broadening its tax base, yet we don't see any progress in terms of development or where our monies are going. So that's where I feel like we have a big challenge. The whole essence of paying taxes is supposed to be very much aligned to patriotism.
Yeah.
It's all out of the love of our country. We want to see our country progress. We want good roads. We want our kids to go to good schools and all that. But again, what we have right now, these are punitive taxes. For example, the 7.5 to 10% increase in rental income tax is sheer impunitive, and I don't know what's wrong with this government, because they are very blind to reading the room. Kenyans are already.
Yeah, I think that's what most Kenyans are asking. Who was formulating this, and who thinks of such instances of adding tax?
Exactly, it feels like the whole finance bill was generated from someone in Tanzania or South Africa. Yeah, because that increase, yeah, the government acts as if landlords are the ones who are going to feel the pinch, but they are going to extend the whole pinch to the end user, who are the tenants. So again, Mama Mboga is already suffering from price increase on petroleum fuel, and on top of that, rent is going up.
Yeah, we'll get back to you, Collins. Mimi nataka turudi back to Majibu, niulize panel yako. Okay, mnataka watu wainue mkono. Nani amesoma finance bill mzima? Okay, nani ako na content ya finance bill? Tukienda kwa streets, mtu akupea microphone useme, "Mbona uko hapa?" Unaweza sema
na Regina Nkirote pale.
Regina anakaa kwa content
amejipanga kweli.
Ndio usiulize kwa screen. Uko hapa kwa nini uko? Sisi tuko tu hapa. Unajua serikali na hatujui.
Yeah, kuna mwenye hajaongea hapa, naomba pitisha mic kwa kiongozi hapa na smile kabisa. Mheshimiwa bana, inakuaje?
Okay. Thank you.
Picha alafu pia watuambie, have you gone through the document, na pia briefly vile nimeuliza wengine, what stands out for you from that document?
Okay, thank you so much to our panelists, our viewers, my fellow Gen Z. My name is Walter Oyo Lando. I'm a political science and public administration student from Moi University. And today is a privilege for us to gather here so that we can indulge on finance bill. I'll say that personally, I've gone through the finance bill, and I can say that there are some taxes that has to be omitted.
Which are some of these taxes?
We have talked about the 7.5% to 10% on rents. And on my reasoning, because I come deep in the villages down there in Siaya County, and I reason, sometimes I talk with the youths. Someone is paying a rent of 2,500. But now, this tax is there, and maybe if it has been implemented, a youth who is hustling, maybe a youth who is doing border, who cannot even raise 300 shillings in a day, will have to pay maybe rent of 4,000, depending with the tax rates that has been indicated. So meaning, we are going to affect these people directly in the villages. So I know some of my colleagues here may be arguing, but some of you are in town. Maybe you don't interact deep in the villages, what those people are facing. Their fuel prices are high. Some of them use motorbikes that have been loaned, meaning they pay it in installment. So in a scenario that these youth cannot even afford to pay 450 shillings that they have been loaned by either Watu or Mogo, these financial institution that loan the youth the motorbike. Then you are telling these youth who has no land deep in the village that now you not pay the 2,500 that you are supposed to pay, but now this tax is there so that you can increase this to 3,500. It's impossible, and it's going to affect us, the youths in the villages and comrades. Number two, we have talked about mitumba. If you hear about Kikomba, the only thing that will ring in your mind is mitumba. Just the way our expert has said about the upfront fee. That KRA, under that finance bill, there's a regulation that if you import a mitumba, for instance, me as Walter, I've gone to import a mitumba of 1 million. Then I'm subjected to 5% tax, meaning if I order a goods of 1 million, then I'll have to pay 50,000. And this 50,000, I pay it in upfront fee. So I think the government has to look deep on this, because what we are trying to achieve, it is unrealistic.
Safi, can we pitisha mic hapa mbele? Can we then now say, Kiongozi, that this new document is designed to make the common mwananchi suffer even more? Because tukiangalia issue ya mitumba, sini masafara kai sio yanabai mitumba. When you talk about rent, ni sisi tu tunalipanga rent bado. Wadosa wako kwao huko wamedoze Karen huko na Malavi, wamedoze kwa mamansion zao za 16 acres. Ni sisi tunalipanga rent. Ukisema issue ya fuel prices, ni sisi bado tunalipa, kama ni boda, matatu, fares zimepanda. Utasema hii document then it is designed to make the common mwananchi au me even more.
Okay, my name is Alvin Moreithi. Hapo Saudi Menti, I'm vying for the member of parliament. Wananiita Moreithi wa boda. Also hapo
na wewe umeathirika directly. Tukisema mtu wa boda ni wewe.
Ni mimi sasa. Mimi hapa na senke yangu naingia mashinani. So mimi kama mwanafunzi nilianza kuendesha pikipiki nikiwa back in Maseno. Hiyo ndio imekuwa ikinisaidia. Also on the rent tax 7.5 to 10.5. For example, mimi ni wale comrade wenye unasema au wenye ulikuwa unasikia Defayo akisema eti anakaa kwa kikombe. Hiyo kanyumba mabati, unaona? So for example is a comrade, my brother have said here, analipa rent ya 2,000. For example hiyo tax ikiwekwa atakuwa analipa around hapo 4,000 ama unajua loans venye wanafanyanga. So another thing, this tax is also affecting the youths on the digital creation. That tax, na pia tuseme comrade akona hapo, so unapata una tax so that 16%. So that broadening of tax is affecting the comrades and the youths. Unaona? Kitu ingine, as Alvin, I know the government is under pressure from the financial institutions due to debts, the SAPs. That's why from 8% to 16%. We understand that, but they must slow. For example, on the fuel sector. Sahi kitambo kwenda Juju ungetumia 160. Sahi bila 250 hauwezi enda Juja. So that's affecting the youths. For example, you are working as an intern in government ministries. For example, unalipa 25,000, umetaxiwa, umetoa tuseme unakaa hapa Ngara, nyumba ni 13,000 bedsitter ama 14. Umetoa rent, food, hakuna kitu.
Safi. Unajua tunalalamika kweli, lakini pia nataka tukirudi hata si tuangalie kama kuna anything good in that document, because comparing the finance bill 2024-2025 and this current document, kuna vitu zenye haziko in this new proposal, like VAT on bread. Mlipiga kelele sana the last financial year, mkapiga kelele pia nduru on the motor vehicle circulation tax. Sahi kwa hii document hakuna. On eco levy proposals on phones pia hakuna. So as much as tunalalamika, pia nataka mtuambie if there is anything good yenye mna feel like yenye hapa gava imecheza kama wao in that new document. Charlotte, wanasemaje huko home?
Na kusoma hapa naona wengine wamekasirika, wengine wamefurahi, na tunataka kusoma feedback back from you guys. Again, director, please nitolee tafadhali feedback kutoka nyumbani. Ndio hiyo, acha tusome from Kenyans who are angry. Wengine wana support. Kiminda from Othaya wamesema hii document tayari tumepangiwa kuumizwa, wachukue chenye tumebakisha. If weren't it for current parliament, waliwafukuza wenye wanajua finance and taxation and budget. Remember, we don't see the work. 90% tax collected in this country since this regime took over. Kimina from Othaya hata unaka umekasirika kabisa. KM Wasabi amesema, why are those guys wasting our taxes? They have no idea how prices can be lowered. Yes, how they can be lowered, only praising government. KM Wasabi amesema, au wana praise tu serikali peke yao. The next person, Wanyoike Gitao anasema, pinches. Wacha tumalize kusoma hiyo. Naona tulishasoma Kiminda from Othaya. Wanyoike Gitao anasema they should also show sympathy by deduction of their salary for that final consumer is talking about. Ile siku tutaona finance bill wamesema tumepropose ku reduce salaries ya MPs. Sijui tutaenda aje. Pinches Taita Taveta, according to the proposed finance bill, it is very ironical how government is concerned with increasing taxes every day rather than creating job opportunities for the unemployed. For instance, where do you get the audacity to tax someone who is not working? Me and 10 others are asking that. Pinches Taita Taveta, asante sana kwa hiyo swali. Umekaa tu hivi unataxiwa jamani. Allow us to go on a short break, lakini tunarudi here Gen Z Manifesto. Tuulize ile swali important kabisa. Wanataka kutumaliza jamani na hii finance bill. Swali la leo nikiwakumbusha jamani, ni tax kila mahali ama tuko solo? That is the question tonight. See you right back after this break. Kidogo tu tunarudi.
Kama invite yangu haikufika on time, but I'm glad to be here anyway.
She was my rival, my competitor. We need to shut this business down.
Hii biashara ndo kila kitu kwenye hii familia. Nikufe ama nisikufe. Kama mbaya.
We ni mnoma sana.
One truth can break everything.
Sit tight.
Mafanikio hayaji kwa bahati. Ni matokeo ya bidii, uvumilivu, kujifunza, kusoma, kujituma na zaidi ya yote, kukipenda unachokifanya.
Kupata mafanikio kama skiza tune yako, dial *811 *614#.
In an age of fleeting headlines, depth matters. PeopleDaily.digital carries forward the legacy of genuine journalism. We bring you not just the news, but the context, the analysis, and the stories that shape our nation. For reporting that digs deeper and informs better.
From 11th June to 19th July, everything can wait. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Get DSTV access for as little as 1,450 Kenya shillings today.
Hihi wina kĩũria kana woni wĩgiĩ umemerekia wa Kameme TV? Twandĩkĩre woni waku kũhĩtũkĩra Facebook @Kameme TV Kenya, X @Kameme TV Kenya. Na twandĩkĩre email kũhĩtũkĩra info@mediamax.co.ke. Kameme TV, mũthĩgi wa rũrĩrĩ.
Ladies and gentlemen, karibu kwa vibe genje za Kenya. Hizi ni zetu zetu.
Beba kwa zile shaglasi uchapa ndio fomi jipe na watu wa moke mzii.
Life ni short lakini yangu ni toka. Pia usisahau
kuna ile uwaga ni zufala umbwakni yenye inabamba raia. TikTok ama uende jehanamu. Niende jehanamu. Samaki ya matope.
Hapa ndio home za madoa ambazo zina donjo, yani sherehe ni sheria na sherehe ni lazima.
Naambiaje?
Ndio ile place wa Kenya hutambulika ni wa Kenya.
Tunasemaje?
Karibu milele
100% Kenya.
Zetu baba.
Boda iko loud 100% Kenyan. Tunawakilisha milele.
Kiumia gĩkĩ tabarĩra-inĩ ĩno tũrakũrehe hakuhĩ na gũkinyanĩria kĩroto gĩaku na gũkũrehera nyũmba o ũndũ ũmwe na mĩgũnda ya raithi ĩrĩa ũngĩgwatĩra ũhũthũ wĩta mũgũri kana mũigithia wa mbere. Oho nĩ tũkũnyitanĩra na mũtaaramu wa mbeca akũiyĩre thiri cia ũrĩa ũngĩkomberwo mbeca raithi. Thutha-inĩ tũingĩre kona ya ũgemu nĩguo ũheo motaro ma ũrĩa ũngĩbanga na gũthakaria nyũmba yaku hamwe na mangĩ maingĩ. Ĩno ti tabarĩra ta iria ingĩ, nĩ rũgendo rwa gũthoma, kũhĩga na gũkinyanĩria kĩroto gĩaku. Nyitanĩra na ithuĩ kiumia gĩkĩ wona ciehanda thaa 2 cia ũtukũ, na o ta mũtugo o mũndũ nĩ mũrore.
Muthenya mwega umenyekanaga riũa rĩkiuma ngo-inĩ, na ũngĩkorwo na mũtirithania mwega noguo muthenya waku ũthakaraga na ũkagĩrĩra. Na nĩkĩo gũkũ gwa Kameme TV tũrĩtirithanagia nawe kwagĩrithia muthenya waku.
Na niĩ mũmbi wa Chege.
Njĩtagwo Kĩmani wa Ngũnjiri.
Na niĩ Njoroge wa Kĩmani.
Atunyitanĩra ithuothe niĩ Maina Kĩhumo.
O muthenya wa Jumaine nginya wa Gatano kwambĩrĩria thinacara cia kĩroko nginya thaa 4 cia rũcinĩ.
welcome back to Gen Z Manifesto. Na topic ya leo jamani, tunaulizana tuko peke yetu, tuko solo, or are we tunasikizwa kweli? And before we just left on the break, our expert here Mokaya, who is also an MP aspirant wa Dagoretti North. Kila saa aspirants wakikujanga hapa nasemanga ile siku mtapata jamani mshike simu yangu. Na msiposhika ni mwamak. Hiyo ndio nitasema tu hivyo. Who's also a partner at SKM Africa specializing in tax matters. Na tuko of course tuko na Collins Mwangi, who's a youth leader. Mimi niko na swali. Gava ikisema haya, you know, there are not bad things also here. Sindio, we need to get revenue, we need to collect money for this country. Tuko na unajua deni yetu pale tumefika 12 trillion, tunashangaa okay tutalipaje hiyo. Is it for us to keep quiet about this particular issue, to say wenyewe we need to pay taxes by the way, or what can we do for us as Kenyans wakipitisha, tuseme wapitishe with all of these things that have come? Mokaya, let me start with you. When you hear of such taxes na gava ikisema we need this revenue, we need it, ama watoto wetu hawatakula chakula in the next generation, like Gen Z children tutaka hapo tuseme, you know. So what comes into your mind first of all as a tax expert when you read this finance bill? Is there something good? Is there something we are missing? Tuko tu na emotions kila pahali, ama is it factual to actually feel this particular feelings towards this bill?
Well, I guess where to begin is no one wants to pay tax if given the choice. Yeah.
But I think most Kenyans are saying we do not mind paying tax as long as we see actionable results.
I doubt that is very sincere though. You know. Really? Yeah, because in essence, especially with the raid on pay slips and a serious reduction of disposable income, take-homes, then there is much more that you have to take care with what you have, and there will be reluctance generally if you could receive all your income, then you are the one to apportion, you know, to government. Yeah, like countries, different countries. But I think what Kenyans are generally saying is that they do not mind paying tax if they see what the tax they pay does. To the extent that, for example, if I don't need to take care of my kids' education, taking them to private schools because public schools are working perfectly, the capitation is not late, the school learning materials are provided on time, then I think most parents and taxpayers may not have a problem. If our roads are you know, smooth and, you know, no potholes, and the congestion brought about by narrow roads is dealt with, then Kenyans might have the appetite of entertaining tax. If Medicare and healthcare is generally smooth, there is no shortage of drugs, and you don't have to get very expensive private insurance for you to feel comfortable, then tax probably could be palatable. But there are definitely good aspects in the bill. There might not be many, but there are.
Do you mind mentioning some of them, because we want to know, wengine wanasoma nyumbani, kuna kitu mzuri from your finance bill that we need to know, that ama tupe
and unfortunately, you know, it's the good thing, the good stuff within the bill might not be spoken as loud as the bad ones, but the bad ones are definitely many. So for instance, we have the tax amnesty.
Do you mind explaining it in simple terms? The
tax amnesty introduction. Amnesty is forgiveness, kusamehewa. So what essentially the bill is proposing is that if you have not paid your taxes in the past, if you fail to pay your taxes for whatever reason, you are being given a chance to file those returns and pay those taxes, and the penalties and interest that could occasionally apply for failure to file in time and pay in time, they are forgiven.
Completely?
Completely.
So hakuna additional?
So you, in essence, you only pay the principal.
Yes.
There is no payment of penalties and interest. That's what tax amnesty means. We added some time back. It's been introduced. It's a good thing because it gives all of us a second chance to file our returns and pay taxes that we didn't pay for historical periods. So it's a good thing. Then there's also another good thing, which is exemption from income tax on pension paid upon death of members who are contributing to pension. That's a good thing because then it allows you know, much more funds to be received by the beneficiaries, and therefore be used by the family.
So you wamesema
watatoa
from pension?
Yes,
okay.
they are basically removing the tax applied or applicable currently on pension upon death of a contributing member. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Yeah. The other few provisions, especially the clarifications on real estate investment trusts, which have been provided, they provide clarity and they streamline the taxation of those persons who invest in REITs. REITs are real estate investment trusts. Some of you might have participated in those ones. That also goes a long way in providing clarity and avoiding disputes. Otherwise, the rest then are the ones which we struggle to see good and bad, but we see more bad because...
I wanted to ask about, I think one positive one would be removal of VAT on dialysis consumables. Which I thought that was a good one, like, you know, to VAT on some products or systems or vitu yenye inatumika kwa dialysis.
Yeah, so it's twofold.
Yeah.
The bill is proposing to reclassify some pharmaceutical or some drugs from currently zero rated to exempt status, and it's important to understand what is the meaning of reclassification from zero rated to exempt. So when a product is vatable at zero, it essentially means you pay VAT at zero. So which means if a product is going for 100 shillings, it's vatable, but there is no addition of VAT, but it's vatable. And that means that the person who is producing and selling that product, the inputs they incur in making this product available for sale, they will claim that input VAT.
Okay.
Sawa. However, when a product is exempt from VAT, it essentially means that when they sell to you, they don't sell with VAT. However, the input VAT they incur in procuring the raw materials to make this product available for sale, they don't claim it. So what do most people do? They will add it to the price of the product.
Yes.
And then the effect is the price of the product will increase.
Okay.
Yeah. So what the government is proposing to do is reclassify some drugs from zero rated to vatable, and the impact of that is that those drugs are going to increase by 16%, or 16%, which is the cost of raw materials that are vatable, which they incur in manufacturing these drugs. Yeah, so it's not essentially a good thing. However, for those items which the government is exempting and they do not have VAT for raw materials, then exemption could pass a relief to the consumer or to the buyer.
Sawa, tafadhali majibu.
I also think that we need clarification. Tumesikia CS Mbadi akisema that there are no new tax proposals kwa issue ya mobile phones. Saying that there are currently other taxes zenye ziko in place, like 16% VAT on all mobile phones. Kuna 10% on exercise duty, kuna 25% import duty on phones. Zote hizo, including the 2% from railway development levy, zina accumulate to 55.5% on current mobile taxation. When the CS says that hakuna, they are trying to replace all those taxes, the 25% excess duty collected upon activation of the phone. Are Kenyans losing or winning in this?
A very good question. An extremely good question. Yeah, so is it factual that currently tax on cellular phones is at 55%? That is correct. Because as you've listed, import duty is 25%, VAT 16%, there's RDL and IDF, which make up 4%, then there is excise duty at 10%. The total is 55%. The proposal that is currently in the bill is to replace all those with excise duty at 25%. Now, is it a good thing? If well thought out, it will be a good thing.
Okay, I just want you to emphasize what is an excise duty. So
what is excise duty? So excise duty is an indirect tax. But the interesting thing of the way this tax wants to be imposed is that me and you will pay it once we put a SIM card on our phone. So the moment you go buy a phone, you put a SIM card of whatever network provider. At that point, the way I look at it is the government will integrate with the telcos or the network providers. Then you will get a link that will prompt you to pay the tax, the 25% tax. Now, I have a couple of challenges or a couple of issues with that model. One, what base or what price is the government going to use as your purchase price for the phone?
I agree.
Because you know, if to this iPhone today, if you go and buy it down, you know, River Road, it's a genuine iPhone from River Road. It probably will go at a different price if you buy it from Uptown.
Yeah.
You understand? So then the question is, if you buy from Safaricom, it's probably easier to get the price. But what if you buy it from a different place? What if you import it? Because most of us travel out of the country. You come with your phone. So what base price are you going to use to impose the 25%?
Me nataka niulize swali hapo before we just jump into Collins. Do you mind giving us statistically if my phone probably will cost to say 80,000 Kenyan shillings and they put a 25% excise duty on it? What's the calculation there?
So let's use 100,000 because it's easy.
Okay, 100,000.
So if the phone will cost 100,000, then you will be required to pay 25,000 as excise duty because it's 25% of.
So am I paying 125?
No, remember you've already paid 100,000 at the vendor. When you were getting your phone, you paid 100,000 at the vendor, right?
Yeah.
Now, before you activate your phone for use, because the government intends to take all the serials and emails for the phone to so before you activate, it will prompt you to pay 25% of your purchase price or of a base that it's not clear at this point the basis of that base. Okay. But assuming it's the purchase price, which I told you I see a challenge because of where we source our phones from.
Yeah. So how will they know?
Yes, okay, exactly. So but assuming they come up with a standard and say iPhone 17 100,000. So that is the base. So if that is the base, then the tax you'll pay, the excise duty could be 25% of 100,000, which is what? 25,000.
Yes. So unasema total you're using 125.
So effectively, you've bought your phone at 125,000, which is probably, if our vendors are honest, could be slightly lower than what you are currently getting your phone at.
Collins, you had mentioned something before we jumped on break, and you were saying this finance bill ni fallacy, sio ukweli, wanatuchocha kidogo, wanataka tupande pressure kidogo tu alafu turudi back to normal settings. Why do you think that the legislators, our leaders we've put there into power, will want again to kuja kutuumiza tena? Why would you think that? Especially coming to 2027, elections karibu ifike. Watupanisha pressure for fun, ama?
Well, nikubalia niseme hivi. Shida kubwa yenye tuko nayo sana sana pale kwa bunge ni wale wabunge ambayo tulichagua kama Wakenya. Si ambao wenye wako sahi. Wamesahau jukumu lao la representation. Sasa sahi they are representing the interest of the president. Yeah, na that's why tunasema aje. Hii serikali ya leo tuko na shida moja nayo kwa sababu ya kitu moja.
Do you think the whole finance bill is about the president?
What I feel is, members of parliament are not listening to Wanjiku, the common mwananchi. They are doing what the national government or the government in place wants. Make it make sense. A member of parliament has already, facilitated public participation kwa kijiji. Wananchi wamesema sisi tumesumbuka na hii maneno ya mafuta kupanda. On top of that, tunaongezewa gharama zingine. You get that? But again, this member of parliament anaenda kwa the house na hataki kusimama na maneno yenye Wanjiku anasumbuka nayo.
Collins, before we nataka tukuuliza, we mentioned public participation. I want to ask, how many of us have actually attended a public participation for this finance bill before May 25th? Because May 25th was the deadline. Kama uliattend unaweza enda mkono. MP wako hakuleta. Niko nataka kusikia such honest ones. So MP wa Nkorota amesema hakuleta. Anyone else?
Mpatie mic.
Mpe mic tafadhali kwa side ya majibu. Have you attended where and when?
No, public participation concerning the finance bill, we can't say that the government is not doing public participation.
It is.
Because the other time I told you I come from Siaya.
Yes.
But there's a day they were at the IBC hall in Siaya County, which was graced by the women from Kisumu. Ruth Odinga, she was there. But now the only challenge with this public participation is that citizens are not given the opportunity to express themselves. In simple words, it is a ceremonial public participation.
Specifically for finance bill or for all everything?
Majorly, if you look about the public participation, is like they bring to you what they have discussed. Then they challenge you a little bit, because as a political scientist, as a political science student, if you look at the philosophy of Machiavelli, you know, you tell people what they want to hear. Most of our youths here, they'll speak online, but if you go with them on the real issue, they might not provide solution. Same to people in the villages. Maybe they don't have any knowledge on the technological advancement. MP will come with a slogan for public participation. At some extent, even in my constituency that I come, you'll hear the area MP at some point, they encourage, at least, they even give citizen some, we call it some cash.
Some cash.
Yeah, some people had said
some cash so that they can attend.
So people are actually being paid to attend those.
Exactly.
Yeah, so people are being paid to attend such.
How much do you think they're being paid?
Okay, I've interacted with some. You find some are given 200 shillings for them to attend such like public participation.
And to just be there.
Yeah, and at the same time, the other time we were doing about registration of voters. In my constituency, it is evident that the youths were being mobilized. They are given 200 so that they can register as voters. So the point that I was bringing home is, with this public participation, the government has set a standard that they just present so that you and me, we appear, they take pictures that we attended the public participation. But the nitty-gritty of the content that you are doing the public participation, it's unknown to the public. So that's the key challenge.
And those who are being paid, are they allowed to air out their views in those sittings?
Or in most scenario, you'll find that if you are paid, automatically you'll not say fact, because you have been bought. So the real information that the normal mwananchi needs will not be found on those public participation. So this is the key problem that's affecting our society. The other day, you could see social media, people strolling that the CS, John Mbadi, and other colleagues, they mobilize youth. There were some fake IDs. It's evident that most of you who are online, you saw those allegations. So in a scenario that you have bought these youth, you have made even the fake ID so that they can present themselves for public participation. It won't work. Lastly, before I give the mic, you'll find that with this public participation, with this finance bill, most of our youths have been bought. I've heard some youths saying that misinformation. If you tell him you are talking about misinformation, tell us the information, they are not ready to say. I've been watching the likes of Alionya, Makore the other time. They're telling the youths that, oh, there's misinformation. But can you bring that misinformation so that we dialogue and find the points in the finance bill? So that's the problem.
At least like in Alionya, not here to defend themselves. Like into tutaweta kwa the next show, watatuambia kama yenyewe kuna misinformation in that document. Pitisha mic hapa mbele, naona anacheka. So tell us pia, mpatie mic atuambie. Umesikia kitu amesema that some of these youths are actually being paid to go and attend those sittings. Na sisi tunaambiwa ni public participation. If this is actually happening, what does this say ama communicate about the system we are dealing with right now?
And or do we blame them? Kama wako na njana tu so imenisaidia kakitu, do I blame them?
I think we should not blame the youth.
So tukule
at the same time pia we should tuchukue tu like the burden pia tugawane 50-50. The system is corrupt. That is why the leaders wako na the thought of acha ni walipe wakuje. And at the same time pia tuko at fault for taking that money and staying silent. Unaelewa? Because if you take the money and ni kama unaweka kwa a box whereby I give you money, don't say this.
So tuseme tukule na tu vote vizuri.
I think
because that's the conclusion that we're trying to draw.
No, we shouldn't.
So
like a patriotic Kenyan and a youth mwenye ako ready to air out whatever they want and to stand for whatever they believe in, hafai kukuwa easily corrupted.
So is a broke Kenyan a patriotic Kenyan?
Now that's the problem, because if utapandisha the standards of life, hiyo 200 itakuwa of importance kwangu, because at the end of the day, acha nikuje nikae hapo nipe hiyo 200 I go home, at least nitapata mboga. So we go back to the root of all this problem. Ni kukosa pesa, unemployment and poverty.
Safi Dorcas, naona Regina anataka kuongea hapo pia. Sasa saa hii ukipatwa sombili uende upeane your views. Remember we are dealing with a very contentious document hapa. Yenye ikishapita unajondo ni hivyo. Sukari ikishapanda bei
unashtuka.
Ni hivyo kila mtu. Utalipwa alafu uende pale and then give out wrong views about the document.
No. Let me say this.
Wengine wanasema chukua do kule alafu useme kenye ni ukweli, and then kama umekuwa compromise umechukua do and you're forced to say something which is not right.
No, I can't say it is not right while it is right, and I can't say it is right while it is not right. The thing is this, whoever feeds you controls you. Na tulisema hivi sisi kama vijana, ukifika pale kwa decision making table, usikumbuke ile yenye umeweka kwa mfuko, usikumbuke tumbo lako peke yako, kumbuka wengine. You cannot tell me there is that one youth mwenye anapewa 200 aende attend hiyo public participation ya finance bill, aende akose ku defend the fact that kwa hiyo finance bill kuna deadline compression, like it has been compressed from June ikarudishwa hivi nyuma. Second thing, the same finance bill inasema kwamba if you file nil returns unafaa ukuwe umefile by January. Si ni ukweli? Yes. January, kila mtu anajua January venye inakuanga ngumu, inaitwa njaa Januari. Hakuna venye unaweza kuwa hapo na 200 yako na una hata kitu ya kufile, na bado unaweza kosa kujidefend wewe mwenyewe, hauna kitu ya kufile na unafaa ufile something by January. Si ni ukweli?
Sasa Regina, in fact kwa hiyo issue of file returns they are saying they are moving from 30th of June to 30th of April.
Yes.
What's the rush?
I'm also wondering what's the rush about, but acha niseme hivi. Our president akona shida tu moja. The whole government should be about creativity. Si kusukuma mtu ambaye anateseka tayari unamsukuma aende file returns mapema, hata file nini. Wanafaa watupe time, kama ni watu wa business wakuwa wamefanya their audit. Inafaa like kila mwananchi anajua returns ufailiwa by June. Si ni ukweli? Sasa hata nani atakumbuka? Nani atakuwa amefile audit zake? Wengine wetu itakuwa tu ngumu. Kitu moja yenye najua ni the whole mchezo ni ya IMF. Kuna hii pesa yenye IMF ilikuwa ilipe serikali, that is 462 billion. Kuna hii 3.3 billion yenye Ruto anafaa, trillion I mean, anafaa alipe kama deni. So the whole rush ni alipe madeni, whereas aoni sisi kama Wakenya tunateseka. You cannot fatten a cow by milking it drier every day. Si ni ukweli? Sisi kama Wakenya tunateseka big time kabisa. And kama ni hizi madeni zenye anafaa kulipa, kuna ile strategy yenye anafaa kuja nayo bila kufilizisha the common mwananchi. We commoners, you are suffering. And it is
umesema kitu important. Umesema ya kwamba tuko na tax ya kulipa.
Yes.
Tuko na allocations ya vitu different. Tumefika 12 trillion. So serikali ikisema we have the right to do this because we need to pay these taxes.
We are ready to pay, but what's the rush about?
Sasa tunajenzia tutakuwa na any money huko mbele.
Hatutakuwa
watoto wetu. So swali yangu ni serikali ikisema hapana, tunahitaji revenue. Tunyamaze sisi wenyewe because tunahitaji revenue to pay the taxes. Are we really supposed to be the ones to complain about it?
We are not supposed to complain, but there is a way these things should be done so that at least we can enjoy even living in our own country. Ukikuja zile sectors zenye, the informal sectors zenye zinakuwa taxed, zinatufilizisha sisi wenyewe to an extent we cannot even be in a position to have something to pay this government. Yeah?
Safi. Kuna the question pia ya expenditure, because kuna mtu atasema issue ya collect taxes, that is issue. Taxes, everybody must pay taxes and it's in the constitution. Issue inakuja pale kwa expenditure ya gava. Do you think that the problem sasa is not about the taxes being charged or imposed on Kenyans? It comes to now how the government is actually spending those taxes. Do you think that is where the issue is?
Yes. About the, I remember
Karibisha Mike. Karibisha Mike.
there is something yenye nimeandika hapa for the 462 billion, the money that was frozen by IMF yenye ilikuwa ipatiano hapa Kenya, there were conditions that were given to our president for him to be given hiyo pesa. Number one, he was to redefine our physical credibility, which means he was to reduce physical deficit budget, which was at 4.8 trillion to the physical deficit, which was at 1.1 trillion. That was too high for us. And so he was supposed to reduce our expenditure on our overall cost, something that he refused to do.
Safi. Kuna mwenye si kama ameongea, alikuwa ameongea lakini nipatie chance pia tuambie on the issue yenye nimemuuliza pia ya filing of taxes from 30th of June to now 30th of April, if this proposal is going to pass in the parliament. What's the rush pia wewe, and do you think is the way forward ama that's how things should run? Karibisha Mike kidogo on the issue of filing of taxes now from 30th of June to 30th of April.
What's the rush?
Do you think the government is like punishing Kenyans for being taxpayers?
Yes, I think because like there is no need of rush. First, they must listen to the ground what they are saying through that public participation. Me, I can say in my county, we have not been given the chance to involve ourselves in that.
Which county is that?
Nakuru County.
Unasema Nakuru hakuna public participation ya finance bill?
Hakuna. Hatujaletewa.
Yeah, I think also there's a clarification majibu on a few things. If you look at most public participation and if you look at the official gazette, wanaweka watu wa county 10 in one county. They did that in 2024 for the youth bill. So they took the whole of entire Rift Valley into Eldoret as one of the places of public participation. So unaona mse wa Nakuru hawezi travel all the way to this place to do that. So I understand what you're saying about probably your county didn't have that. But I also think some of those hayanaunciwangi as loudly. Mtu wetu wa siasa.
Tunafaa tuulize because hii ni kama hiyo issue tuko kadi, like lazima ichukue, is the government doing enough to sensitize the Kenyans ili waweze to understand actually what is happening in that document? Is the government doing enough? Because kwa voter registration pia it was the same issue. It had to take initiative ya Mkenya kuja na initiative ya tuko kadi ndio wengine wakuwe registered as voters. Serikali inafanya kazi kweli to ensure that kila mtu director nini anasema nichukue feedback kwanza. Haya sawa, tuwekee basi mzee. Haya, swali lilikuwa ni tax kila mahali. Tuko solo? That's the question. Kenyans at home, what are they saying? Kimathi Lengoko anasema I work hard for every coin I earn. So why should the government access my M-Pesa account through KRA and monitor every transaction I make? Citizens are now being treated like suspects instead of hard-working taxpayers. Enough is enough. The common mwananchi is already struggling under heavy economic pressure. Kumbuka hapo Mbadi aliclarify on these payments. Gili from Kericho anasema, so basically every time young people discover a way to survive economically, it immediately becomes taxable. Online jobs, taxed. Mobile money, taxed. Small biashara, SMEs, taxed. At this rate, even jobless will attract maintenance fees. Alo. Aya. Junior from Taita Taveta anasema, I'm deeply worried about the lack of empathy in government. Life is harder than ever, yet policymakers seem completely detached. Hawajui kitu happen ground. When the state failed to create employment, the youth didn't give up. They built their own lifelines through online work. The government is now choking it with aggressive transaction taxes. Jamlek Tobiko anasema, there are many ways we can get money in this country. One is reducing allowance for politicians as well as slavery. There is no need for allowance, and yet they are doing their duties or job like any other citizen. Izoma retreat zipunguke. Obize from Kisumu. Otile Brown mwenyewe uniye kweli. Anasema, I think this year's finance bill shows a more thoughtful approach towards economic growth, revenue collection, and protecting ordinary citizens. A stable economy needs balanced decisions, and this bill reflects progress and listening to the people. Yono Bize from Kisumu. Wacha wa mwisho huyo. Wacha tupate kiongozi hapo nyuma. Kuna mwenye anataka kuongea. Ongea alafu nikuje kwake na mpatishie mic kidogo tu ama ako nayo. Tuambie, umesikia what Kenyans at home are saying about all these issue. Na kuna mwenye raise a very important issue about the youth who are struggling to make a living from these online jobs. Do you think now serikali inatafuta ile opportunity nyingine za make do inafinyilia hapo?
Okay, kitu ya kwanza pia tukiangalia story na wasi wengi wanafanya kazi online, si ni kweli?
Kwanza comrades
ni wengi wanafanya online. Na once umeanza kumtax utakuwa umemmaliza, unaget? Kwa sababu ile do wanapata pale, I'm very sure ainaga pesa mingi hivyo vile gava inafikiria vijana tunaokota hiyo do hivyo.
But kuna msee ataargue pia kama msee mwingine kwa kioski yake analipa tax. Mbona huyo kijana wa forex mwenye anunua majieli daily asikue taxed?
Unajua ni aje? Mimi naiangalia under this perspective ambayo kutax wasewa online inafaika mtu na regulation fit. Enye hata ukilipa hiyo tax au file uko overtax, tunaget ikuwe ni tax iko genuine. Juu saizi hata tukiangalia history yote pia na finance bill inafaa kuwa kwanza ina protect citizens, ni kweli? Kwa sababu tuwezi endelea kukaa hivi na mavijana ndio hao hakuna jobs enough za kuwapea, ndio maana wanajituma online, unaget? Haya, kitu ya pili tunaangalia hizi matax wanaziweka kwa nini? Niitwaje? Kwa small businesses hizi za nini? Saizi hizo business zimekufa. Aziko. Unaget? Kitu kingine ya tatu naangalia nasemaje? Hatuwezi kuendelea kutax mwananchi into prosperity. Unaget? Government vile mimi naona inajitafutia kichele, ijue mali, sijui ende ilipe ni madeni. Hiyo si ni responsibility juu hizo madeni wanachukua. Si wanakujaga tunaona vitu zinafanya kweli? Nothing. So mimi nikiulizwa they are taxing citizens into prosperity.
Safi. Nikuje kwako pia we wanted to comment something on the
public
same
participation.
On public participation. Tuambie.
I wanted to say, for example, like my brother have said, public participation in Kenya sometimes is ceremonial. For example, not only on the issue of taxation, hapo kwa basha. For example, when also it comes to impeachment cases, for example, you have the likes of Governor Kawira Mwangaza, Rigiji. For example, like from Rigiji to Kiduri Kindiki, it took only 2 days, like 2 days or 1 week. So that's another point. Again, if, for example, we are not refusing the taxes if it's spent well. Like my brother, what he said, that there are no delayed payment of capitations. Like now, campus student up. My brother here, Mordecai, is our campus rep. He can attest. The student, like last, I think it's yesterday, the student of Tuko and striked. Is it true? For example, like Sai, kama hiyo ni returns. Most times wanafunzi wa maseno tunafanyanga exams on January. Then niambie nitalipa fee ama nitalipa hii tax, unaona? So I think the government should check on that. And also, for example, on the tax on fuel, on the road.
Saini mbaya.
Unaona? For example, like when Ruto entered the government, now me I'm speaking for the people of South Imend. Those people who use the Meru, the Tharaka-Nithi, he had promised within 100 days he will give us that he will do the Tharaka-Nithi bridge.
Unasema ni within 100 days. The stadium in wapi in wote. Safi, na mbona nafaa kumaliza on this other side, majenzi wamekuja kabisa kuchambua the finance bill 2026. Wamepitia and they have aired out what they think is not right in that document, and we hope that the government has listened. Kama kawaida pale State House kila Tuesday kunaonga na TV kubwa sana, they are watching Gen Z Manifesto. Ruto amekuwa pale akiwatch kipindi. So Prezo, umesikia, this is what the Gen Zs are saying from this particular show. We've been live on K24 TV and Kameme TV. My name is Majibu Kisamu, narushia mwenzangu Charlotte Kibet on the other side. Lakini Charlotte nikikurudishia, naomba kuuliza experts uko nao hapo swali moja.
Yes.
This finance bill has been drafted in a way that I think they're trying to raise about 190 billion in additional revenue. Now, what will that fill in that 1.1 trillion deficit? Inaweza ama iwezi jameni? Kazi kwako mpaka next Tuesday, nangoja kujibiwa.
Swali important, na Mukaya atatujibia tu kidogo, but I want to ask Collins kidogo, and is it plausible kama wanaweza eka hizi finances, I mean wanaweza eka hizi taxes zote, is it possible, and what do you think kama ile siku wanyo hata eka wa reduce you know, pesa za politicians, you know, ama salaries, is it possible? Mokai anacheka, sio kwa nini unacheka, ama unaona any stories za jaba? Collins, please give us your final thoughts on that. Is it possible for that to happen?
Well, to answer your question, allow me to paint a picture of the reality of the common mwananchi kwa sai. I want you to picture this. There's Wanjiku. Wanjiku commutes daily to Nairobi. Anafanya kazi mahali pale Westlands. She fights her way daily through traffic nini. At the end of the month amepata payslip. We know very well it's not like before. Mahali tulikuwa na NHIF nalipa punch 500 imeisha. Now we have SHA. SHA iko juu kuliko NHIF. Haya, hiyo ni payslip yake imeenda dent. Amekatwa housing levy ya nyumba ambaye hatapata. Amekatwa NSSF. You get that? Kwa hivyo Wanjiku at the end of the month amechoka na hana pesa. Saa hii Wanjiku akienda kwa supermarket alipe na card, kuna fees imeongezeka hapo. Wanjiku akienda kununua nguo mtumba imepanda bei. Kwa nini? Kuna tax imeongezeka hapo. The reality is Wanjiku wanaumia. Na mimi nasema hivi, kama hii serikali inasikiza Wanjiku, hakuna tax yote wanafaa kuongeza. First of all, watuonyeshe what they are capable of doing with what they have already collected.
Yes, I'm being told to harakisha kidogo kwa time. Allow me to give it to Mokaya, just give your final thoughts. 1 minute, we only have 10 seconds to finish. What do you have to say? And I get your point. Wanjiku amechoka, tusikilizwe tafadhali. Mokaya, please close the show for us.
Thank you.
30 seconds.
30 seconds,
yes.
All right. So first, allow me to appreciate the Gen Z because unlike before, when we relegated the issue of tax to you know, guys who are elitist, now tax issue of finance bill is now a discussion across households. So that's a good thing, and it means that we are now in charge of our future collectively. So a big applause to the Gen Z and to all Kenyans.
Asante.
Number two, of course, to you guys for giving this platform and audience for us to engage, share, clear the misinformation, and of course put facts as they should be. Definitely we need to tax, I mean we need to pay tax because tax
is... You're being told to interrupt you because you have to close in. But as you finish, when umesema it's possible.
It's possible that we can actually work with a lesser tax burden and push the country forward.
Asante sana Mokaya and Collins for joining us. Thank you all of you for your viewers for giving us your feedback on this particular thing. Tunafurahi kama Wakenya wanasoma finance bill when they want to take control of their future. I want to say as I end this again, shame on you leaders again who sit down sometimes and our legislators to think of ways to tax Kenyans. As Winston Churchill said, you cannot tax a country into prosperity. Hizo ni stories za jaba. Shame on you for carrying helicopters everywhere kwa mtunyana na chakula. Shame on you for using our money to fuel your guzzlers na kutushame in our counties. See you next Tuesday here on Gen Z Manifesto. Mungu wabariki sana. See you next week. Thank you guys. I'm so sorry.
Kameme TV, Muthegi wa Ruriri.
Download Sendwave app umuthi no huthire promo code kameme. Ahuthiri a mbere ni mekwamukira $5 marikia gufund wallet na kuma $10. Sendwave wallet, money without borders, mawatho na mitaratara kuhuthika.
Hihi wina kioria kana woni wegie umemerekia wa Kameme TV. Twandikire woni waku kuhitukira Facebook @Kameme TV Kenya, X @Kameme TV Kenya. Na twandikire email kuhitukira info@mediamax.com. Kameme TV, muthigi wa ruriri.
Why wait